defensive streamers. Last week, we nailed the defensive streamers out of the park. Cardinals, 17 points. Miami, 12 points. Chiefs, 13. The Jets, probably my top one of last week, was a meh 7, but even then, they didn't lose you your week by any means. So 3 of the 4 going for 12 or more fantasy points. Not a bad week for the streamers. Let's dive into who I think could do that in week 8. Tennessee at Houston would be my top choice, 41% rostered. They've had a top 10 defense fantasy-wise in 2 of their last 3 games, including 19 points last week against the Colts, 6-10 the other 2 weeks beforehand. So no real duds or stinkers and 2 top 10 weeks. They have not given up more than 22 points since week 2 with Buffalo. Buffalo just dismantles everybody they face, so I can give them a pass there. And they haven't allowed 17 points in 3 of that stretch I was just telling you about. They have not given up more than 17 points. So given they're facing a Houston team that scored 20 points just once this entire season, 5 ints across their last 4 games, Davis Mills getting worse by the week, it seems. 4-point road favorite. I think they're going to smash them by more than 4. I'm really, really big fan of this team. And the only thing that the Texans have going for them is Dameon Pierce, their running game. And we just saw the Colts get held to 65 yards on the ground, and they're ultimately one of only 4 teams that are allowing less than 100 rushing yards per game in 2022. Texans 25th in scoring, 28th in scoring, 25th in total offense. Definitely think the Titans are a solid dart throw this week. If you miss on them, spoiler, all of these streaming defenses come from the same conference. I like Indianapolis against Washington. They're awful offense that keeps turning over the ball and putting them in unfavorable situations is brutal. It's covering up the fact that the Colts are quietly 9th in the league in total defense. They're allowing under 315 yards per game, 7th against the pass, 13th in points allowed, 10th in the league with 17 sacks. So by all metrics, a top 10 defense right now. They're just getting fucked because their offense keeps turning the ball over and giving up pick sixes and just horrendousness. So ultimately, I like this Indy team that can get to the passer. They're facing a Washington team that's given up the second most sacks. We saw Taylor Heineke promptly give up a pick 6, may have had a fumble 6 on Brian Robinson as well, but that got overturned in that game. So I think Washington, 5th most points allowed to defenses against a defense that's really good, just kind of looking not quite as sexy because of how just awful the offense is playing. With 10 sacks in their last 3 games and 2 of their last 3 opponents to 13 or fewer points, I think we could see the Colts do the same thing to Washington, hold them to less than 2 touchdowns, have 4 to 5 sacks, maybe even a turnover 6. Big fan of the Colts if you miss out on the Titans, and even then, maybe they're better on paper, just a better defense. If Sam Ehlinger can just kind of control the game, bleed some clock, and just let the defense do its thing, which that's why he's getting the start. He's a runner. He's mobile. Good things could happen. The last team I want to recommend, so you could look to the Commanders on the other side of the ball. I'm not going to recommend them just because they've had literally one good game all year, 13 points 2 weeks ago against Chicago on Thursday Night Football. They've had no more than 5 points in any other game. So I'm not going to go to the Commanders, even though I like that D-line. I think they could harass Sam Ehlinger. But I think, again, they're turning to him because he's mobile and can extend the plays. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them not be quite the play. I do like Jacksonville. Dropped by a ton of teams. They got me -4 just a few weeks ago. So trust me, it's taken a lot of pride swallowing here to go back to Jacksonville. 27% rostered. Why is it easy to swallow this pride? What's the sugar that's making it a more palatable taste? Is the fact that they're facing the Broncos. Reminder, lowest scoring team in the NFL. No other team has averaged fewer points, and they have not put up over 300 yards in a single game. Their season high is 23 points so far against I believe the Chargers. They only put up 270 yards in that game too. Awful. They've only topped 16 points once, in fact. That's just abysmal. There's no other way to put it. This is a horrendous team, and whether or not it's Russ Wilson, whether or not it's Brett Ripien, we got the Jags in London, baby, and we know how the Jags fire things up. So big fan of the Jacksonville defense. I like the Broncos too, but they're also much higher rostered at this point. So looking at that division or that conference, that division there, the AFC South. So Tennessee first, Colts second, and Jacksonville third. Those are my 3 streamers. Let me know what you think in the comments about those guys. If you have any defensive questions, this one or that one, let me know as well. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.